Hey. Where is everything right now? CDC. This doesn't make sense, not at all. Where is everything? Everything I put in here? I don't know. I really don't know. Where is it? Where is it? Come on, where is it? Do 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 do. There we go. There I am. Good to see that I am here and good. Hello, Ashton. Welcome to the stream on Irium. My name's Octavia I am your Dullahan VTuber, here to tell you the tales of souls who have passed or will pass. Hello. I am also streaming this game on YouTube, so if you want to hear gameplay and everything, then head over to my YouTube channel and you can see it right there. Anyhow, today we're going to be playing the Red Pearls of Borneo. It's a mystery game, and it looked interesting enough, so that's why I picked it up. So, let's get to it. Right now. Alright. Do. Let me make sure. There we go. Okay. Let me fix this. I don't know why it wants to be a little silly Billy like this. There we go. And then we just need to move this there. Goodness. Did not need to be this silly. But it did, and it is. Alright, we're good. So. Welcome to the Pearls of Borneo. Let me make sure everything is all good. Okay, we get to play in Chinese or English. Now here's the thing. As much as I can understand the Chinese and all that, I'm not even sure if it's going to be like Mandarin Chinese or like Cantonese Chinese, because I mean, I guess it's not much different when you're reading it, huh? I can't imagine it being that different. Anyways, we're just going to go in English. We're going to do this uncensored. Okay, yes, it contains typical racial insults against Japanese army. Because history. So, I think that's fine enough to uncensor. Hello, Ashton Brewer on YouTube. Hello. Anyways, let's continue uncensored. Now, here's the difficulty. Apparently, there's a difficulty to this game, which is crazy to me because this is just a mystery game. You click, you find out details. What can be so difficult? How would you like to play the game as intended or experience hardcore? Hardcore disables global timeline tracker, turns off discovery hints, toggled on and off. We'll just go with the normal difficulty because I think a global timeline would help explain the story better. In my view, anyways. Anyhow, is there no sound to this? Is there really no sound to this? Anyways. To Miss Elphine. Confidential. What happened to Borneo? I don't know. Let's open it up. Confidential. Okay, so our character is Miss Delphine. 12th of April, 1948, London. I trust this correspondence finds you in good health and that the spring air is providing a welcome relief after the winter's chill. I must apologize for the sudden nature of this letter, as we have never been formally introduced. However, I was given your name by a mutual acquaintance in Oxford, who spoke with great conviction of your unique gifts. He assured me that where the conventional authorities reach their limit, your investigation begins. It is that hope, perhaps a desperate one, that compels me to write to you today. They told me it was the war, that my father, my sister, Loon, that they were just casualties of the occupation. But I know better now. They were long gone before the Japanese landed. I was struck here in London during the Blitz, unable to reach them. My father, Jeremiah, had been running the Goodwill tobacco plantation in North Borneo for decades. It was our paradise. Now they say it's a graveyard. I've spent every penny of my inheritance chasing ghosts. Letters to the colonial force, bribes to sailors, and this is all I have. A box of scraps, a map, some photos. You are as sensitive, I am told. Not sure what that means, but okay. That's what they call you, people. Please, I need to know what happened to them. Access the memories attached to these items. Find the truth. Enclosed are a few photos I managed to recover. So, there's a couple more. But these are the first 3. The only thing I know for sure is what little the colonial office told me. Jeremiah Goodwill was alone in the study at 16 o'clock on Tuesday, 16th December, 1941, when he placed a telephone call to the local authorities regarding the arrival of an unannounced and unexpected guest. Please help me put them to rest. J. Goodwill, Jr. All right. Well, we have our objective. Oh, good. We do have music. Okay, we're catching music. The good. All right, let's go. I have a map of the plantation, and I am only aware of the study as a location so far. I have been provided with photos of everyone who was known to be present on the premises at the time. But I only have the name of my benefactor's father and sister. I will need to figure out the names of the other guests before I can start being able to connect with them. Right, let's go to the study and see what we can find. Alright. So, we have our guests. We can label 2 of them. This is Loon Goodwill. Yes, we have a whole timeline to figure out. All the way... So... Well, this is 1 day. And then 2 days. This all happened within 2 days. Crazy shit to hear. 2 days. Alright, next. We have a couple documents. We have a document. We have an inventory. Hurrah. Documents. And it's just a letter. That's the dossier. That's it for the dossier. We have notes, we have items, we have a transcript. This is just, your, history chat log, your history dialogue box. Oh, good. Glossary. Now we can learn about history. Borneo in 1941 was a period of industrialization for the island's resources, dominated by a handful of European powers and corporations taking advantage of the local population. The economy shifted away from traditional trade towards large-scale industries like rubber and tobacco plantations, and a small but lucrative pearl oyster industry. By 1941, Borneo was effectively split between 2 European powers. The British in the north were divided into 3 territories. Sarawak, ruled by Charles Brooke, of the Brooke family. The White Rajas, British North Borneo, ruled by the British North Borneo. Thanks. Chartered North Borneo Chartered Company, of which the Goodwill Plantation was part of, and Brunei, a British prec- protectorate. Protectorate? Goodness. Learning words. The Dutch occupied the south as a part of the Dutch East. As part of the Dutch East Industries and administered from Jakarta historically. Germans had been early pioneers in Borneo's tobacco industry before World War I, but their influence declined after that war. There was a massive boom in plantation agriculture, which redefined the landscape of the island. After World War I, the demand for rubber, because of the auto industry, skyrocketed. European companies cleared vast tracts of jungle to plant rubber trees. By the 1930s, rubber was the most significant export for both British and Dutch Borneo. Before that, North Borneo was world famous for its high-quality cigar wrapper leaf. However, by the 1930s, many tobacco companies began to switch to rubber because the American cigarettes were taking over and the demand for cigar leaves dwindled. Hello, Rory! Indeed, rubber. We're learning history because this is a game set in history. World War I in Borneo. How are you, Red Queen Rory over on YouTube? Thank you for the heart there. Yes. When people spoke of oyster farms in Borneo during this era, they meant pearl oysters to farm for pearls and mother-of-pearl shells rather than edible oysters. The Sulu Sea and the Celeb Sea were the primary grounds. Natural pearls were harvested by indigenous divers. In the 1920s, the industry faced a crisis due to the invention of cultured pearls. In Japan. As Japanese cultured pearls flooded the market at a lower cost, the value of Borneo's natural pearls plummeted. The British and Dutch governments issued concessions to European companies to dredge this seabed, so they could do it at scale and fight off the Japanese pearls. They were primarily interested in mother of pearl, which was used for buttons and jewelry in Europe and America. It is important to note that while Europeans owned the land and capital, they did not provide the labor. The time before World War II saw a massive influx of Chinese laborers brought in for tobacco and rubber, and eventually became the dominant merchants in coastal towns like Sandakan, and the Japanese were highly influential in the 1930s in timber and fishing, often acting as spies to the Japanese military, gathering intelligence before their invasion in 1941. And of course we have help button, which tells us about how the game works and hints. But our first thing to do... Oh yes, and this eye? Yeah, we have a whole timeline again. This game takes place over 2 days. And yeah, market do be like that. Market's tough and rough. Anyways, so the only thing we have open to us right now in this game is the study. Let's click the study. I can feel the essence of the study as I focus on it. It's nearly as if I'm in the room. The feeling is impossible to describe, and many think it's not real and just a parlor trick. I don't blame them. There's a specific feel to old rooms. The objects that form the essence of the space become part of the room. Items that remain in that space long enough become anchored to the space itself. Ooh, yeah, tulip market. Oof. If it's not tulips, then it's something else. You know, like the Beanie Babies. And if it's not the Beanie Babies, there's a whole bunch of trends that are exactly like the tulip market, if we're talking about that. Yeah. Heavy teak furniture and the smell of stale smoke fills the air. A telephone is on the desk. Well, let's continue. I know that Jeremiah was alone at 4 p.m. in the study. If I focus hard enough on Jeremiah, I should be able to see the echo of what happened there. Set the timeline to 16 o'clock and place Jeremiah's photo into focus. A guest can only be in one location at any given time. So, like, they cannot be in between rooms. They cannot be in two places at once, as we are not dealing with any ghosts or any sort of magical devices. At least so far as we know. If you see a guest in a location, they cannot be in another location at the same time. Yes. An event doesn't necessarily take the whole hour, but only one significant event can happen at a location at a time. Okay, so important events happen important times. Got it. Guests may appear at the edges of an echo in one room and be in another room for the remainder of the hour. They will only count in the room where they are fully present. So, we are Tuesday, 1 hour later. Jeremiah Goodwill, let's focus in. Jeremiah is in the study, speaking to someone in the corridor. And you left him with Loon? What were you thinking, man? Yes, go tell her to fetch towels. That's fine, I'll deal with notifying the authorities. Jeremiah Goodwill picks up the rotary telephone. Delphine can focus on items like the telephone. You can go to the phone on the item screen in the inventory and press I anywhere and attune it by attributing the correct owner to it. Once the owner has been identified, Delphine can feel the aura of the person using the item at any given time and see the echo of what happened in its presence. Given that Jeremiah is the owner of the plantation, it is likely that he is the one who uses the telephone most often, and therefore it is likely to be him that I need to attune it to. We'll deal with attuning items later. Start speaking to the receiver. District Officer, this is Jeremiah Goodwill, at the Goodwill Plantation. I want to log in an unexpected visitor, a Mr. Lucas Sterling. Grab those names. Who moored his raft at my dock. He claims to be the solitary survivor of a pirate outrage on the coast. Would you be so good as to notify the constabulary? The Marine Wing of the North Borneo Armed Constabulary is the closest thing to a coast guard in the British parts of North Borneo. They operated small, armed motor launches that patrolled the coasts before the Japanese invasion. Great maritime rules. We can learn more history. Furthermore, I should like to inquire that if there have been any reports regarding Royal Navy vessels currently unaccounted for in these waters. The chap's story is fishy. Very fishy indeed. The survivor strikes me as a young pup. Altogether, too cheeky. For my liking. My head, Jaga. Jaga is a guard. Sikh or Punjabi men who were commonly employed as watchmen across British Borneo, typically wearing formal turbans and high-collared button tunics. My head, Jaga. Kanan. Now I have the names of two of the guests. I need to remember that indigenous people to Borneo often do not have a surname, so I should be able to identify Kanan with just his first name. If I can figure out who they are based on context, she can assign their name to it in the guest case profile. Great! We'll deal with naming people after that as well. Kanan interrogated him at the boathouse. We got the boathouse. I don't care for his manner one bit. A description? He's young, in his 20s, I'd say, with a haircut that's altogether too styled for my liking. Like one of those Americans on the silver screen. He may well be the victim, he claims. But for now, for all I know, he's a common scoundrel or a scout for the nips. I shall ring again by the first light. I expect you to have the particulars by then. Much obliged. Jeremiah Goodwill puts down the phone. Someone knocks on the door. Tuan Bone is waiting for you in the library. We got the library. If someone is in the edges of the space during the event, I don't need to know who they are. They will just remain as ghostly forms in the shadows. Well, let's start naming people. Hello, Moral! And yeah, my model does glow. My live 2D model glows when I speak, and yeah, it is great that I rigged it that way. Anyways, we are playing the Red Pearls of Borneo, where we find out what the heck happened during the World War II for these characters. So, we found 2 names. One is Kanan, and the other is probably Lucas Sterling. Great. Items. We should also attune the phone to Jeremiah. The telephone has some strong energy. I can feel it being used quite clearly at 2 a.m. by a man
Hydrate
with a
before
local...
you dehydrate!
Thank you, Moral, for the hydrate. Now that Delphine has aura attached to the telephone, she can feel whoever is using it at any time. But she is only able to hear and feel the person using or holding the item and not anyone else in the room. Right. Right. Woo! So, the phone's probably going to stay in the study. Let's be real. I believe... Okay, resonance is distorted. So someone else has to be there. Great. So if that is the case, then let us go to the boathouse. Because that would probably be the best next place to be going to. A sagging structure of salt-bleached wood. Inside, tattered fishing nets hang from the rafters. So, Jeremiah said Kanan was interrogating Lucas at the boathouse. I'm assuming that was in progress before Jeremiah made the call. If Delphine selects Lucas and Kanan and focuses at 15 o'clock, she should be able to uncover the echo of that interaction. The numbers in the red bubbles on the timeline are hints. They indicate how many clues to events you haven't discovered are in this scene. By discovering this interaction between Lucas and Kanan, you will have decreased the hint number in this story at 4 p.m. from 2 to 1. So let's start it there. Lucas, Kanan. Focus. I see someone pulling a small raft onto the dock. He seems like a prim and proper young man, but his uniform is tattered and soaked with blood and mud. It's Lucas Sterling. He is looking exhausted. Kanan's large frame is blocking his path. Hand on his sheath sword. Halt! Not another step! Who are you? What are you doing here? My good man, 1 minute. Just let me explain. Can I talk to your master? This is a British plantation, am I correct? I could tell from a distance when I saw the steam engine and unmistakable croquet lawn. You have to respect a nation that will doggedly try to recreate the English lawn in the jungle. And a damn fine job they did, I might add. It feels like home away from home. Lucas has managed to get on shore and is now close to Kanan, trying to charm his way into the house. But I'm not sure Kanan's buying it. I'm not here to cause any trouble. I'm just seeking asylum for the night. My ship was attacked by pirates just off the coast. I managed to hide behind the piracy grill. The threat of a pirate hijack was so common that steamships in the 1920s were equipped with piracy grills, heavy bars and gates that separated the bridge and first-class quarters from the rest of the ship, essentially turning the officers' area into a fortress. In the officer cabin. But the rest of my crew, they were all massacred. I am with the British government. We were carrying a large cargo of Chandu. Chandu is refined opium, boiled and fermented into Tresicle-like paste. Tresicle-like paste? It was a government monopoly in many colonies, at least back then, during World War I. You are far too young to be an officer on a Royal Navy ship. Why would they put someone your age in charge? And if you were not, how did you manage to get behind the grill, but not the actual officers? Kanan gets really close to Lucas Sterling, his hand tight on the hilt of his sword. And it's mighty suspicious you're the only one left alive. You're going to turn back, jump on a raft, and take me to the boat. I'm going to check the veracity of your story. There's no need for that. There's nothing there but the gruesome sight of my dead crewmates, I tell you. Lucas Sterling is being remarkably evasive. There's something more to this story. I best make a note of this. I'll come back to it later. A woman's scream can be heard in the background. It's coming from an observation deck, perched on the edge of the cliff, overlooking the South China Sea. The sound distracts Kanan long enough to stop the line of questioning dead in its tracks. A young woman intervenes, getting in between the two men. No points for guessing that it's Loon Goodwill, looking very giddy. So, with all this information, because two people cannot be in the same place at once, I think we can just add Loon Goodwill to this in the next hour. There we go. Loon Goodwill. Oh, stop it, Kanan. Father will want to see him. Let him come through. Loon Goodwill rushes to meet Lucas Sterling, holding out her hand for a handshake. Don't mind him. My name is Loon Goodwill. What's your name? My name is Lucas Sterling. Pleasure to make your acquaintance, young lady. Come with me to the veranda to meet everyone. My mother, Teresa, is already there, having her first sundowner. My research shows that a sundowner is local colloquialism for an evening drink, taken when the sun is setting to mark the transition from the heat of day to the cool of the evening. Okay, interesting. I don't drink, so I wouldn't know what that actually was. But yes, this is gonna be long stream to make up for how short stream was and like how down everything was before. So get ready for a long ride. I was there too, and so was Father. We watched you arrive on your raft. Father rushed off to the study to tell on you, I'm sure. He can be so paranoid. He'll be back by 6 for his sundowner. Miss Goodwill, I don't mean to be rude, but I've just experienced the most traumatic moment of my life. Could you point me to somewhere I can freshen up and get some clean clothes first, if it's not too much to ask? Oh my, where are my manners? Of course, Mr. Sterling. Come with me. I will show you to the guest house. Kanan, can you tell Aisha to come to the guest house? Aisha must be a local servant girl. There's only one in my pile of photos. I'll assume it's her and identify her now. Well, that's less work for us. Can you tell Isaiah to come to the guest house with fresh guest towels for Mr. Lucas? She was just in the kitchen. Thank you. Kanan bows. He may not approve, but he respects the young woman. Of course, little Mem. Mem is a specific title for the lady of the house. I gather that little Mem is an affectionate term used by the servants to refer to Loon. Of course, little Mem. I will go find her. Loon Goodwill smiles and focuses her attention back to Lucas Sterling. Come, let's go! And that's that. For that. So. Let's see. Let us see. So here's Isaiah. And then we have some other people here. Well, I assume this is the mom. But she's not Sterling. And she's not a Goodwill. Well, Sterling is Lucas and he's not married to her. Anyhow. So, let's head to the kitchen. Located at the back of the building to keep the furnace heat away from the main rooms. Probably I saw it at the 5 mark. Aisha is busy preparing snacks for sundown. She is shelling peanuts for kacang. Kacang means bean or nut in Malay. Usually peanuts roasted with spices. Yum. Someone. I saw the German man in the hat by the jungle entrance. You told me to let you know. Thank you. I'll go meet him in the usual spot. Can you take over? These need to go to Mrs. McIntyre in the veranda. So, let's head to the veranda. The place where the family gather to drink their evening sundowners and watch the sunset. Loon. Ah, right. We can't add her until we identify her. So she's probably Teresa McIntyre. Wonderful. Now that we've identified her. At 5, it should be just 3. Joy! Love and joy. Jeremiah Goodwill enters the veranda. Loon Goodwill and Teresa McIntyre are already there, sat facing the sea. It's about time you got here. I am parched. My dear, what did you do while I was away? I've only been back for a few hours. Did you go thirsty these last few days? Just start pouring already. Jeremiah Goodwill gets to the bar and starts making sundowners. Yep. Teresa McIntyre takes a pill from her purse and swallows it. It must be her Tuan's dose for today. A dose of quinine, take it. Quinine? Quinine, taken daily by the masters of the plantation, the Tuans. Quinine was usually taken daily with the sundowner and an evening snack, as it was believed it shouldn't be taken on an empty stomach. Almost everyone in Borneo takes it every day to fight off malaria. Tuan's dose for the day. Have you seen Bone yet? I need to talk to him. We're losing the Orient. What does that even mean? Confounded Teresa, you never listen. There's no Orient. They have no luster. It's that bloody nuisance of a crimson swirl, I tell you. I just don't understand. Who says? They all do. The Tokeis. Hello, Cairo Moon. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for the star. And yes, we're playing, at least here on Irium. But yes, we are also playing this game over on YouTube. So if you want to go watch the gameplay and everything, head over to my YouTube channel. And that should be that for that. Anyhow, we're learning, playing the game, the Red Pearls of Borneo. We're finding out what the heck happened to this place during the World War I era. The Chinese Tokeis were powerful and influential merchants who controlled the pearl trade in North Borneo before the war. The Bajos. The Bajo are nomadic sea people who live in the waters around Borneo. They are amazing divers and experts on pearls. Pearls. The Japanese, they all say it. There's no Orient, so they're all worthless. All 10 tons in the warehouse. Absolute waste. The tobacco trade is drying up. 30 years ago, North Borneo was world famous for its high-quality cigar wrapper leaf. However, by the 1930s, many tobacco companies began to wind up or switch to rubber and coconut because of cigarettes becoming more fashionable and less soil exhaustion. It looks like the Goodwill were behind the curve and feeling the pressure. But we were starting to really get a handle on reliably finding tons of shells. But now this? I just feel cursed at the moment. Stop bothering me with your problems. I was just humoring you while you were pouring the drinks, but you're already starting to bore me now. I don't care about any of this anymore. Where's Rose? Shouldn't you be sounding off to your lovely new wife instead? Jeremiah Goodwill pours his drink in one gulp and slams the glass down on the bar. He pours himself another. Blast it all, you know damn well where she is and who with. I don't know what she sees in Vitalina, but they're together more often than not these days. Actually, your new friend said she was going to go up on the balcony to greet Rose after she finishes her phone call. I haven't seen Vitalina yet today. She's not my friend. She's my lady solicitor. Anyways, it's Vitalina's husband I need. Where's Bone? Darling, he's at the clubhouse, of course. It's the only place him and Dieter can hide to do the you-know-what. I saw Mr. Tanaka go there just now. Do you think he's also a registered smoker? Teresa McIntyre mimics taking a long drag from a pipe using the straw from her drink. Then she laughs. Excitedly. Oh, Loon Goodwill. Father, look! There's a raft approaching! It's coming from that big ship anchored further up the coast! Loon Goodwill points towards the sea. Jeremiah Goodwill squints into the distance. Jeremiah Goodwin puts his drink down and pops his head inside. Get on! Go down to the boathouse and see who that is! Don't let them land without checking them first! They watch from the railing as Lucas Sterling docks his raft, and Kanan approaches him. Mother, look! He's young, just like me! Darling, he's not a child. He's probably twice your age. I'm not a child, Mother, and he looks very nice. Why is Kanan being so rough with him? Teresa McIntyre takes her drink and sips it lazily.
Hydrate before you dihydrate!
Thank you, Red Queen Warari. Whew. Teresa McIntyre takes her drink and sips it lazily, looking bored. She doesn't seem to care what's going on at all. I don't like the looks of this. I'm going to the study to contact the constabulary. Jeremiah Goodwill puts his drink down and heads inside. Loon Goodwill waits for her father to leave, then hitches up her skirt and runs downstairs towards the boathouse to greet the stranger. Alright. So, now we have a couple more guests that we can probably identify. One of them has to be Rose. And... whoops, Oh, this is not Rose Goodwill. Really? Vitalina Goodwill? Well, one of the... It's not? Well, we can at least identify... Well, one of them has to be. Did I not grab all the names here? Let me see. Rose. Who she's with. Mr. Tanaka. Huh. Yeah. Well, one of them has to be Rose Goodwill. Huh, neither of them are? Well. How odd is that? Well, the other thing that we know Sparse and functional with many beds to accommodate unexpected guests. Well, no one's here. Not by this hour. But, the next hour, Loon and Lucas. Because she was taking him to the guest house to clean up after he landed on shore. Loon Goodwill is escorting Lucas Sterling to the guest house. The guest house is on the right there, just past the wash house. Lucas Sterling stops. Can I use the wash house now, quickly? Is there water? Oh yes, we always have water. Follow me! Do you not want to wait for Isaiah to come with fresh towels first? I just really need to get cleaned up in this heat. I will drive very quickly. In this heat, I will drive very quickly. Oh, but you must wait for the towels. I shall be quite alright. Is this it? Loon Goodwill nods. Lucas Sterling opens the door and steps inside. He takes off his tattered uniform and just holds onto a pouch that he was holding under his jacket. Oh, let me grab that pouch. Takes off his tattered uniform and just holds on to a pouch that he was hiding under his jacket. Lucas Sterling grabs a Gayung's traditional plastic or metal ladle, used for scooping water from jar or bucket to clean yourselves back then when you didn't have a faucet. Well, a typical shower head, okay. Gayung to scoop cold water from the Shanghai jar. Large ceramic Shanghai jars were commonly used in colonial houses to store cool water for bathing in the very hot tropical heat. From the Shanghai jar and pours it over his hair, face, and body. A look of pure satisfaction on his face. He scrubs away at the mud and blood for quite a while. When he finally stops, he just stands there for a minute, then looks down at his right hand. It's trembling uncontrollably. Ooh, that's rough. Ooh. I mean, if he actually did come from a massacre, he is absolutely traumatized, baby. Lucas Sterling starts to sob quietly. Oh, now I feel bad. He's now crying. Lucas, compose yourself, man. It's over. You made it. You're safe. You, my child, are traumatized. You may not know it, especially way back in the 1940s, but you are traumatized. He looks around the small room. The floor is made of stones to prevent wood from rotting. The floor is sloped towards a drain that leads out into the garden. He jumps in as he hears Isaiah arrive. He stays still for a minute, listening to Loon and Isaiah's conversation, and waits for Isaiah to leave before he resumes his search. Lucas Sterling notices a loose stone on the floor. He pries it up and hides the pouch underneath it before replacing it. From outside the door, I have the towels and some clean clothes. It's starched whites. Starched whites are the standard attire for men in colonial houses. Starched white shorts, white knee-high socks, and a white shirt. They are clean and pressed and strongly fragranced. They're not practical for work, but are used to maintain an ill-conceived illusion of British superiority. Ill-conceived is right. It is so badly conceived. Okay. Starched whites. I hope that's alright. It's all that the men wear here. It's not as fancy as what you're used to, I'm sure. Can I pry the door open and hand them to you? Lucas Sterling lets his hands out the door, and Loon Goodwill places the towels and clothes in them. I hope they fit. They belong to a young cousin of my father who died from the fever. Loon must mean the black water fever. By far the most feared cause of death for young Europeans in the tropics. It's a terrifying complication of repeated malaria infections and fatal within days. Fever. It was about your height, I reckon. Don't worry, the clothes are clean. Loon Goodwill is waiting patiently for Lucas Sterling to finish drying himself. My parents divorced a year ago. My mother has been, well, you'll see soon. She's a lovely woman. She was the most beautiful woman in the whole of Sabah. Sabah is the largest state of Borneo. It is bordered by the states of Sarawak, Kalimantan to the west, and the Philippines to the east. It's ruled by the British North Borneo Chartered Company, a private company that was granted a royal charter by the British government back in the 19th century. Sabah when she was younger, but the sun took its toll over the years. My parents divorced and my father remarried within weeks. My mother drinks a lot now. Oh. And now you get why that Teresa is no longer a Goodwill. They're separated. But she's lovely, you'll see. And I have a brother in London. He left for boarding school when I was a baby. But I think you know that already, don't you? Lucas Sterling comes out of the wash house, looking at Loon Goodwill with curiosity. I don't know what you're talking about. Boss, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Loon Goodwill gives him a knowing look, as if expecting him to confirm this fact. Thank you for the clothes. They fit very well. I don't know how to thank you. You're welcome. I'm glad you like them. Come now. Let's go meet the others. Dinner will be ready soon. You must be hungry. They make their way to the veranda. Okay. So. Let's see. None of these. Well, if this is after... Hell yeah! If this is after that... Loon Goodwill and Lucas Sterling arrive at the veranda. Teresa McIntyre is still nursing her drink. Mother, look who it is! Mr. Sterling is all cleaned up. Doesn't he look smart? He certainly cleans up well. A vast improvement on the bloody mess that arrived on the doorstep. You are too kind, miss. Please, call me Teresa. There is no Mrs. here, just an ex-Mrs. As you wish, Teresa. If I may ask, who exactly is on the plantation at the moment? It feels busy. Oh, it's a veritable circus, let's see. Our neighbor is here, Dieter von Guntram. I don't know why he's always here. Then there's Edward, with his Russian girlfriend, Vitalina. They're old family friends. Bone is practically an uncle to Loon. Sorry, Bone? His name is Edward. We call him Bone affectionately. There's no malice behind the nickname. Then there's Rose, Jeremiah's new wife. Teresa McIntyre rolls her eyes. And Cynthia's here too. She's Jeremiah's personal lady solicitor, ostensibly here for legal and financial decisions. But then again, Rose was the nanny, so we never know with Jeremiah. She's so pretty and stylish. I love her glasses. That's quite a gathering. And we can't forget the help. There's Jiro. He handles all the maintenance around the estate. He taught me how to fish. Indeed. You've met Kanan, our head of security. A ray of sunshine, isn't he? And Aisha runs the household staff. Heavy footsteps approach. Jeremiah Goodwill storms onto the veranda. So, the prodigal stranger is making himself at home, I see. Kanan tells me you claim to be a government agent? Mr. Goodwill, well, I wouldn't say that. I didn't actually say who I was. Kanan just assumed and... A loud bang echoes from the clubhouse. The floorboards vibrate. What in God's name was that? I think it came from the clubhouse. That sounded like an explosion. Mr. Goodwill, you lead the way. Wait for me, please! No, Loon, it's too dangerous. You stay here with Teresa. We'll be right back. Where's Kanan? I would have expected him to run over here to check on us. Maybe he's already at the clubhouse? You're probably right. I will need to put my trust in you right now, Mr. Sterling. But know that this isn't over. We will resume our little chat soon. As the two men run out, I can see two other women enter into the veranda from the back. Okay. Well, we got names. Proper names. So, this is probably Dieter von Guntram. And then... Vitalina von... Huh. Cynthia... Jiro Tanaka? Well, we got a couple more names. So. Let's see. If we're talking... The entrance to the jungle, the path is overgrown. If we're talking about all the way at the beginning, Dieter von Guntram was seen at the entrance, probably? Dieter von Guntram emerges from the jungle path, clutching a bottle of corn brand to his chest. Hello, Private Glade. Thank you for the stars over on Irium. Welcome to the stream. Today's going to be a long stream. We're playing the Red Pearls of Borneo. And I'm also streaming on YouTube, so if you want the gameplay and all that, head over to the YouTube channel, and you can see that right there. Otherwise, feel free to listen in, because this is text-heavy. Kornbrand is a German brand of grain spirit, very similar to vodka, but often distilled to a slightly lower proof to retain the flavor of the grain. To a British observer, it might look like vodka, but to a German or Russian, the distinction is vital. He pauses at the edge of a clearing, scanning the grounds nervously. Clear. Good. Instead of heading to the main house, he approaches the perimeter fence. He uses a tool to loosen the wire of a fence post, leaving the mesh loose, but visually intact. He tests the concealment, nodding with satisfaction. It looks undisturbed, but a firm push would open a man-sized gap. He tucks the bottle under his arm and hurries off, disappearing towards a distant cove. So here's our timeline as well, just in case you were wondering. So that's that. Right. Actually, let me... Yeah, let me open this. Because we can jump through timelines like this. Okay. Right. Yeah. So... if Teresa back here was still nursing her drink alone, nothing happened at this hour. Okay. Teresa McIntyre is alone on the veranda, nursing a drink. She picks up a faded photograph from the mantelpiece. Look at you. Teresa McIntyre drains her glass. She stares at the photo with a mixture of hatred and pity. He'll tire of you too, my dear, just like he tired of me. And then, it will be a little Miss Seville's turn. You'll see. She slams the faded photograph face down on the table. Teresa McIntyre spots someone outside and runs out to greet them. So, outside where? That is the question. But, is this Cynthia Seville? Yeah. And I mean, if it's Cynthia, and she's like solicitor, quote unquote, like doing taxes and all, and like whatever financial stuff. Stacks of yellowing Straits Times newspapers sit piled beside the library shelves, full of heavy bound books. I assume she'll be in the library all the way back here? No. No. Huh. Well, I mean, the next thing is the men at the clubhouse. Let's be honest. Let's go. A rustic version of a London's gentleman club, complete with a billiard table, outdated copies of Punch, the Illustrated London News, Punch and the Illustrated London News. There is a bar serving gin pots. Gin pots is a gin mixed with several heavy dashes of Agnostra bitters, which helps settle the stomach after a day in the humid jungle. Okay. So, somewhere all the way back here. Kanon's not here either. Okay. Let's pull up this and figure out what we're missing here. Right. No. Kitchen. She's gonna meet them somewhere. She'll be at the veranda. Yeah. Phone at the library. So, Edward's somewhere in the library. Let's see. Is she still in the kitchen? No. No one's in the kitchen. Guest house? No one's at the guest house either. Okay. So... Scream your heart out. Or maybe that young man down there, arriving in his raft. Maybe he's my St. George, come to whisk me away from this godforsaken rock. Cynthia Seville is climbing up the stairs to the deck. Rose Goodwill violently wipes her tears from her cheeks, fixes her hair, and paints on a smile. Pull yourself together, Rose. Showtime. The mistress of the house must greet the master's latest little acquisition with becoming dignity. Oh, poor Rose. Poor girlie. Rose Goodwill turns back towards the sea as Cynthia Seville climbs the stairs. Good evening, Rose. I'm Cynthia. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm sure it is. Rose Goodwill keeps her back turned for a moment longer, then polite. A moment longer than polite. Ah, okay, so she's not really looking at her and speaking to her. Got it, got it. Turning, smiling. It's a beautiful late afternoon, isn't it? Cynthia Seville joins Rose Goodwill on the edge of the balcony. That mist is very eerie. Do you know what it means? The end of days, Miss Seville. Just like the black smoke coming from the south. The war is coming this way. We couldn't continue living like this forever. The land below the wind is about to face its greatest storm. Cynthia Seville and Rose Goodwill stare out to the sea quietly for a while. So, what's the deal with Miss Petrovsky? She seems far too beautiful for a man like Mr. Bone. He's so scruffy. His beard looks like it hasn't been washed in a long time, and frankly, from what I gather of his accounts, he is in decidedly strained circumstances. One wonders what on earth she finds in him. Rose Goodwill, laughing. He is stony broke, that's for sure. Love is mysterious, isn't it? Or perhaps it's merely a case of mutual tastes. Mutual tastes? They both have quite the appetite for the pipe. Opium binds them closer than any physical attractions ever could. That's very dark. Let's change the subject. She's coming. Ah. And by she... Well, first... Petros. What? Okay, so they're not together. Okay, so they're just dating. Boyfriend, girlfriend. Okay, okay. Got it, got it. Naruhodo, naruhodo. Vitalina, Cynthia, Rose, let's go. Vitalina Petrovsky joins the ladies on the balcony. Am I interrupting? Not at all, my dear. We were just solving the world's problems. Or at least the plantations. Rose Goodwill pours a drink for Vitalina Petrovsky. Did the Lord answer your prayers? I don't know. I'm not sure I believe in him anymore. It's nothing more than a ritual at this stage. So, can you tell me about this von Guntram? It doesn't feel right having the Hun wandering about the clubhouse, especially with the way things are brewing in Europe. Haven't you seen the poor creature? He's been trailing after Teresa like a stricken animal these past weeks. It's deducedly pathetic. He's been carrying a torch for her for a long time, hasn't he? Always, but now she is divorced. He thinks he has a chance. He does not. A wet rag of a man, no backbone to speak of. He's a Jerry. Marrying into that lot is hardly the done thing these days. One simply wouldn't be seen with him. What about you and Jeremiah, Rose? Rose Goodwill takes a long sip of her gin pot before answering. Jerry, he swept me off my feet once. I was a green girl, full of nonsense. I thought I'd walk straight into a romance novel. But once the novelty wore off and he'd had his way, well, I became another trophy. Something to be kept on the plantation for the neighbors to admire. I am bored to distraction, ladies. If it weren't for the gin and the scandal, I should quite lose my mind. You'll pardon me for being frightfully blunt, Vitalina, but you and Mr. Bonfire, it seems. A rather rum match, if I say so. You are quite an inquisitive woman, Miss Cynthia. I crave your pardon. I spend all my hours over the ledgers working with nothing but numbers and statistics. I'm afraid I've forgotten my social graces. It might look odd to an outsider. I know, but I do care for him quite deeply. He is a transparent soul who wears his heart on his sleeve, you see. He would move heaven and earth for me. Even despite his... habit? The pipe is a hard master. The pipe? It is the only thing that dulls the ache. Those great war wounds, they never truly mend. They haunt a man. Fair enough, but drugs aren't always the answer, but I guess it was way back when in those days. But I have connections in Shanghai. I can source proper pharmaceuticals. Medical grade. I am making arrangements to have them shipped down to the islands. I merely have a certain obligation to fulfill for a gentleman here first. Connections in Shanghai. Are you a Bolshevik, Agent Vitalina? What is with this? Laugh softly. Everyone has their theories these days, but the truth is quite a bit more prosaic, my dear. I am simply a white Russian, one of the thousands who fled the Reds when our world went up in flames. Believe it or not, my mother was a Grand Duchess of the old empire, but the Civil War is a great leveler. I found myself in Shanghai, earning my bread as a taxi driver in a jazz cabaret. I was swept off my feet by a soldier of the line, and well, you know the rest. Hello, Kokozi! Welcome to the stream over on Irium. How are you? Hopefully you're doing well, because I am doing well. Today we are playing the Red Pearls of Borneo. I am also streaming this on YouTube as well, so if you want the gameplay and every other thing, you can go there. But this is a very text-heavy game, so there's gonna be lots of reading. Anyhow, if YouTube would stop misbehaving, though, at least the OBS here stops misbehaving. My day's going well! My day's going well. Everyone has their theories these days, but the truth is a bit more prosaic, my dear. I am simply a white Russian, one of the thousands who fled the Reds when our world went up in flames. Believe it or not, my mother was a Grand Duchess of the old empire, but the Civil War was a great leveler. I found myself in Shanghai, earning my bread as a taxi driver in a jazz cabaret. I was swept off my feet by a soldier of the line, and well, you know the rest. Cynthia Seville finishes her drink and sets the glass down. Well, this has been illuminating, but I must excuse myself. I have some ledgers to put in order in the library before meeting with Jeremiah later. Cynthia leaves the deck. So Cynthia leaves, and it's just these two. Oh, and yes, again, we have a timeline here, so I can also put Cynthia in the library here at this time. Cynthia Seville enters the library. She sees pearls scattered on the floor. Cynthia Seville kneels down and carefully picks them up, inspecting the reddish swirl in their luster. She shakes her head and places them into her blouse pocket. She walks over to the bookshelf and selects several heavy volumes. She sits at the desk, opens up the briefcase she brought with her, and spreads out a series of ledgers. Cynthia Seville lights a cigarette and begins to work, her brow furrowed in concentration. She runs a finger down the column of expenses. They're hemorrhaging money left, right, and center. How much for drinks and opium? She slams the ledger shut and rubs her temples. Plantation expenses, 1941. I really must go and make myself presentable for dinner. It is wretchedly hot, and I couldn't possibly appear in these damp things. Just as she's about to leave, an explosion shakes the house. Cynthia Seville stands still for a moment, then once everything seems to have settled, she resumes her walk to the guest house, calmly. So, she is not here because she is, let's see. Where... Ah. Here, and then to the guest house in the next hour would be you. Cynthia Seville is heading to the guest room to freshen up for dinner. As she steps into the washhouse, she feels a large stone wobble beneath her heel. Curious, she kneels and pries it loose. Underneath, she finds a heavy leather pouch. She opens it. Inside is a revolver and a small glass bottle with a biohazard label. What on earth? She pockets the biohazard sample and the revolver. She takes the empty pouch and tosses it into the tall grass behind the washhouse. Again, we're not going to be able to use the empty pouch anyways. Cynthia Seville showers and changes into a fresh dress and walks out as Kanan runs past her in a panic. She watches impassively as he sprints from the workers' quarters towards the source of the blast, albeit a tad late. Cynthia Seville smooths her dress and calmly heads towards the dining room. Great. So before that, here we have updates to the map. The guest house, workers' quarters, all the way up there. So, let's go to the workers' quarters. A row of timber barracks where the servants live. So back here, Kanan? Then Isia? Yeah, because they are the servers. They're the they're workers of this place. In the shadow of the quarters, Kanan grabs Isia's arm as she tries to pass. Isia, please listen to me one last time. We leave at first light. Wrenching her arm free. I am listening to nothing from you, Kanan. I have work to do. The Japanese are coming. Not maybe, not soon, they are here. They have plans for this place. For the Tuans. Everyone who stays will be slaughtered, but we are invisible to them. If we go now, we live. I love you, Isia. I will not see you butchered for the sake of these white ghosts. She stops, looking at him with cold contempt. You think I need your protection? I have plans of my own, Kanan. Plans already in motion that offer far more safety than running into a jungle with a deserter. Deserter? I'm trying to save us. You are abandoning your post. You are a Jaga who is fleeing at first sign of real danger. I have never loved you. I see you for what you are, a frightened pot-playing soldier. What can I do? Tell me. How do I prove I am worth something to you? You want to help? Then be blind tonight. Whatever you see, whatever you hear, you do nothing, you say nothing. What wickedness are you planning? That's not for you to know. He grabs her shoulder, shaking her. Tell me! Isia just stares at him, her eyes cold and unyielding. Kanan's hand flies up and strikes her across the face. Isia doesn't flinch. She slowly touches her cheek, her eyes burning with hate. You shall rue this night. When the end comes, Kanan, I will make sure you are the very first to bleed. She walks away back to the kitchen, leaving him shaking in the darkness, when suddenly an explosion can be heard coming from the direction of the clubhouse. Alamak, what in blazes is that? Kanan rushes to the clubhouse to investigate. So, at 9, I can assume in this kitchen, Isia stands by the sink, pressing a wet cloth to her cheek. She hisses in pain. Curse him! Curse that wretched, frightened man! She glances out the window into the coming dark. A figure is moving furtively across the grounds from the clubhouse. Towards the jungle entrance is Kanan. What is he doing? He's not. Her eyes widen in realization. God in heaven, Kanan, you utter fool! She throws a cloth into the basin and sprints out the back door. So, towards the jungle entrance, Did I say... No. Huh. Okay. Okay, so... Are you here? Nothing happened in this hour in the guest house. Oh, right. We also have... Pearls biohazard sample. Well, this was in the pouch, so it belongs to you for what the fuck reason. Not even sure what reason. Oh, we have... Oh, we have numbers. Let's see. Oh, yeah, they are bleeding. They are bleeding. You're making 300 about, and you have to spend about 1,500? Oh, you're bleeding. You're bleeding money. Let me just grab the croquet lawn as well. Upkeep and pesticides. Oh dear. Lordy. They are bleeding me. Anyways, an impeccably manicured lawn with a croquet set. So... Oh yes, we also have to identify people. You are Edward Bone. Great. Library. This had to be after that phone call. You? Jeremiah Goodwill and Edward Bonfire enter the library. Jeremiah Goodwill opens the cigar box. On the ornate ivory table, handing out a cigar to Edward Bonfire and lighting it up with his lighter. It has the unmistakable click of a Dunhill left arm. Jeremiah Goodwill then puts it back in his vest pocket. They are soon surrounded by smoke. The whole patch of pearls has no orient bone. That's the verdict. But they do have a lot of orient in them. They're not glassy. I can see the luster. They're trying to rip you off. I know what you're saying, but everyone I've seen agrees that Red's world that appeared in all our pearls means they might as well just be a piece of rock. They're worthless. They just cannot use them as mother of pearl jewelry. What about the shells, though? They're still good. There's more value in the shells with the kind of volume we have. They won't touch the shells. They're scared of our pearls. They're scared our pearls are contaminated with a curse. And the ones who don't believe that think it's chemical warfare from the Japanese to kill us all off. I'm telling you, Jerry, they're right. It's a curse. First the tobacco business drying up, now the oysters gaining this ominous red swirl. Jeremiah Goodwill extinguishes his cigar and stares sternly at Edward Bonfire. Don't be so ridiculous, man. Edward Bonfire gets his hand in his pocket and throws a bunch of pearls at Jeremiah Goodwill. Look at them! Just look at them! They look like the devil's work. We're finished! It's the Brook Rajas. British part of Borneo was divided into 3 territories, Sarawak, Brook Family, White Rajas. Okay. The Brook Rajas. The Bomo. The Bomo was the spiritual and medical Bornean shaman. They were highly respected and were often called upon to treat the sick and injured as well as to perform more spiritual rituals. Bomo, I tell you, he's trying to drive us away. They've wanted this land for years, and the chartered company doesn't care how they get their rubber and palm oil gold mines. Jeremiah Goodwill stares at the pearls rolling on the floor, then at Edward Bonfire. The company cares, Bone. But they are preoccupied. We all should be. This isn't a curse. This is geopolitical instability. The Japanese threat is real. Europe is in economic turmoil with the rise of Nazism. That's why the markets are spooked. Not because of some witch doctor. You're blind, Jerry. You're too far removed from it all. Sitting here in your ivory tower, have you seen the green mist on the horizon? How the hell do you explain that? It's been getting closer for weeks now. Or maybe you're the one who's blind. You don't see what's going on out there? Spending all day in the clubhouse, high on opium? If it's not a curse, then it's the Trinidad. Then it's the Triad. The Chinese Triad was a highly organized criminal empire in Borneo and managed the island's illicit economy. They've done something to our stash, conspiring with merchants to devalue the pearl so they can buy us out cheap. Enough! You're being paranoid. Stop with this nonsense. We need a plan to save the plantation. Not ghost stories or paranoid conspiracy theories. We'll meet with Cynthia after dinner. We need to go over the financials to see what our options are. That's why I brought her back with me today. Of course it is. Anyways, it's 6 p.m. Time for a sundowner. You coming? They're waiting at me at the clubhouse. I'll join you after. Alright. There we are. Of course he is. Edward Bonfire sits alone in the dim light of the clubhouse. On the table before him is a jar of chandu, a small oil lamp, and his pipe. Whispering. Edward. Patience, Bone. Nearly there. He dips a long steel needle into the dark paste, pulling out a pea-sized glob. Holding it over the lamp's fire, he watches the opium bubble. He rolls the warm substance against the flat surface of the pipe bowl, shaping it into a small cone. Finally, he places the pill onto the ceramic bowl. All right, where are my boys? Jiro Tanaka enters the room. One hit. Good man! Here, take a seat. Edward Bonfire moves to the wooden bench. Reclining on his side, he props his head on a hard pillow. He holds the pipe bowl over the lamp, positioning the cooked pill just above the heat, careful not to touch the flame. As the opium vaporizes, releasing a sweet aroma, Edward Bonfire takes a long pull. He holds it, eyes closing in ecstasy. He escapes the charcoal-like dross. Dross is the charcoal-like toxic residue left after smoking opium. It's often scraped out and remixed with fresh opium or consumed by addicts who can't afford refined chandu. Charcoal-like dross from the bowl and mixes it with a fresh dab of chandu. Waste not, want not. He hands the pipe to Jiro Tanaka. Jiro Tanaka mimics the ritual, inhaling deeply. A look of profound relaxation washes over him. Oh, right, she did say at 2 a.m. She had a vision of someone using the phone, so we may as well. Now I know that both Jiro and Kanan were in this study here. I can unlock the full echo by focusing on each of them. Yes, we used the phone in the study at 2 to find out who's with. Focus on both. Kanan enters. Jiro Tanaka peeks in, not believing what he's seeing. You see, I didn't know who to turn to. I don't know who to trust. Jiro Tanaka checks for a pulse. None. He sees the empty blue vial, pockets it, terrified. He places his own opium pipe on the floor next to the victim's hand. Accident. It has to look like an accident. It's better this way. We can say it was an overdose. Bonfire knows about the affair. He'll hang me! Stop worrying, Jiro. I'll take care of it. Kanan picks up the rotary telephone. He says something in a language I don't understand. Damn, I don't speak Malay or Dayak or whatever language that is. I will need to try and transfer what is being said phonetically and reach out to Armand in Oxford. He should be able to translate it for me. Now I just need to concentrate and listen closely. Kanan's still speaking. Then he puts the phone down. They're on the way. You should go. What do we tell the others? What about Loon? She will be devastated. Little Mem's stronger than you think, and she has us. I'll go see Teresa. That's where I will be if you need to find me. What are you talking about? You can't do that. Forget her. It's 2 in the morning. Just go to bed and don't let anyone else see you. Jiro Tanaka takes off his cap and wipes the sweat and tears from his face. Alright, yes, you're right. I'll wait for the reinforcements here. You go. Jiro Tanaka walks out. His route back to his quarters, taking him past this veranda. Whew, boy. So, anyways, back here, Rose, back on the observatory place, Rose Goodwill, Vitalina, Petrosky are leaning against the railing, drinks in hand. You're getting yourself in a frightful state, Rose. Little Miss Seville is merely a business resource to Jeremiah. She's not a bad person. She seems civil enough. I don't give a fig about her resources or how nice she is. Look at her! She is a lady solicitor, darling. Her profession demands she be both commanding and decorative. Do you find her fetching? Is she younger than me? I can tell her skin is so tight. You're a stunner, Rose. Jerry chose you. Did he? Or was I simply the only young white woman within 50 miles of this godforsaken jungle? A deafening roar tears through the air. The crystal tumbler in Rose Goodwill's hand slips and smashes upon the floorboards. Good heavens, what was that? There's smoke coming from the clubhouse. Quickly! They bolt towards the veranda. Okay. Well, we may as well. To the clubhouse. Well, they're probably smoking at the clubhouse. Let's be very frank about it. They're still... No. It... Yeah, I'm just trying to get all the timelines here. Okay, so she was not in any of these rooms. Then what on earth? The air in the clubhouse is thick with sweet smoke. In the clubhouse, yep. Edward Bonfire and Jiro Tanaka lie motionless on the benches, eyes glazed. Jiro, do you still regret getting pushed into all this? Quiet. Minutes pass in silence. A tentative knock at the door echoes through the haze. A servant peeks in. Tuan Bone. Tuan Bessar. In these plantations, Tuan is the standard to address officials. Tuan Bessar, or Big Master, is the head manager in charge of the entire estate. In this case, Kanan is referring to Jeremiah Goodwill. Tuan Bessar is asking for you. He's waiting in the library. Edward Bonfire groans as shielding his eyes from outside light. Tell him I am indisposed. He said it is urgent, Tuan, about the pearls. All right, I tell him I'm coming. Servant bows and retreats. Jiro Tanaka is alone in the clubhouse. He sits up on the bench, rubbing his temples, trying to shake off the last of the drug. Shimata, my head. Stupid idea. Stupid idea. He stands up unsteadily and moves to the drinks cabinet. He pours himself a glass of water, splashing some on his face. Right. Pull yourself together, Jiro. Focus! He looks at the corner of the room where a collection of copper pipes and a pressure cooker are piled up. If I don't get this bloody still working, Tuan Bone will never let me hear the end of it. Jiro Tanaka rolls up his sleeves picks up a wrench and approaches the makeshift distillery equipment. Edward Bonfire and Dieter von Guntram can be heard laughing just outside the door. Well, here they all are. Edward Bonfire and Dieter von Guntram strut into the room. Dieter von Guntram is waving a bottle of cornbrand around in the air. Aha, the master craftsman at work. How goes the Enterprise, Jiro? Hello there, welcome to the stream. I am playing the Red Pearls of Borneo. At least, the stream here on Irium, as I am also streaming the game here on YouTube. Thank you for sharing about the stream here on Irium. Thank you. And don't worry, the Pearls of Borneo is very text-heavy, so you're not really missing much. So yes, we are right now in a clubhouse with 3 people. 3 men. One is Edward Bonfire, Jiro Tanaka, and Dieter von Guntram. They are in a clubhouse, and it's like... And Jiro is working on a distillery, I believe it was. How goes the Enterprise, Jiro? He's tightening a valve. Jiro's tightening a valve. It's coming along. Just finishing the condenser coil. The setup is a marvel of improvisation. A large pressure cooker sits atop a gas burner, connected to a water-cooled bucket acting as a condenser. Wunderbar! It looks strictly scientific. It's crude but effective. Pour it in. Dieter von Guntram pours the clear spirit into the pressure cooker. Jiro Tanaka seals the liquid and ignites the burner. They watch in anticipation. Slowly, a few clear drops drip from the copper tube into a jar. Is that it? A trickle? We'll be here all night! Distillation takes time, Twombone. You can't rush physics. Nonsense! More heat! More pressure equals more speed! Edward Bonfire reaches for the gas dial. Historical facts about World War I, so... keep that in mind. What in the thunder is going on here? We thought the Japanese had finally landed. Edward's wiping tears from his eyes. Oh, Jerry, not quite, old boy. Just a minor technical difficulty that he caused. A technical difficulty that he caused. Dieter von Guntram. Ja, a hitch. Großer Gott, what a bang! Jiro, I told you the pressure was too high, Mr. Bonfire. I told you! Jeremiah Goodwill, explain yourselves, and be quick about it. Well, you see, Vitalina was complaining that she missed her vodka, and Dieter here had all this cornbrand lying around. So Mr. Bonfire instructed me to rig up a still to distill it, to give it a bit more kick. A surprise for the fair Vitalina. It was a marvelous surprise, very loud. You could have leveled the Bali clubhouse. You could have burned us all to cinder. Details. Everyone is intact, and look! Hello, Princess Tempest. Welcome to the stream. My name is Octavia I am your Dullahan VTuber. Today, I am playing the Red Pearls of Borneo. Thank you for the stars, and thank you for following me and becoming a specter in these hallowed halls of mine. And yes, I am also streaming it on YouTube, but you're not missing much if you go onto YouTube, because this is very text-heavy, very dialogue-heavy. So yeah, we're finding out what happened at this place during the World War I, so just know I am absolutely replacing any slurs that I learn of and know of intentionally. Burn us all to cinder. Details. Everyone's intact, and look! Edward Bonfire holds up a small glass of clear liquid. Thank you, Princess Tempest, for sharing about this stream. Thank you. Small, clear glass of liquid. We managed to save a solitary tot. For the lady! Jeremiah Goodwill sighs, the tension leaving his shoulders. He shakes his head, suppressing a grin. Can be, for sure. Like, there are documents, glossary stuff about the actual war stuff, so... Outside this fictional narrative in this, game and story, solving what happened in this place during the World War I, we can learn facts about actual World War during that time. Ahem. Jeremiah Goodwill. You are all stark raving mad, the lot of you! Lucas Sterling. I think, and he is smiling, I think I'm gonna fit in here just fine. Jeremiah. When you've quite calmed down and made yourselves presentable, the dinner will be served. You may all join us in the dining room. Jiro, you can join us too if you wish. It's the least I can do for my friends here, dragging you into their folly. I thank you most... Jiro, I thank you most kindly, sir. I am grateful for your generosity. Kanan finally scrambles on the veranda. Who else is here? These four? Ah, okay, all four ladies. Loon Goodwill, Teresa McIntyre are joined by Rose Goodwill and Vitalina Petrosky, who run in from the observation deck. Mama, what was that report? Is that them? Are the Japanese upon us? Shh, Loon, compose yourself. I knew the wireless was lying. Father insisted they were leagues away, but I knew they'd come for us in the night. I should have gone with Mr. Lucas. I should feel infinitely safer under his wing. He would know what to do. Be sensible, darling. If that were a Japanese battery, we would already be dead. This is some other devilry. Rose Goodwill, laughing nervously. That is hardly a way to reassure your daughter, Teresa. We haven't been bayoneted yet is a rather thin consolation. I am purely stating facts. Hysteria is a luxury we cannot afford. I want to go to the chapel. I need to pray. Yes, the gameplay is that we read, we find words that we can yoink and use for our good purposes of reconstructing the story, because yes, there is an actual timeline we can fill in. I want to go to the chapel. I need to pray. Please, Mother? Oh, for heaven's sake, the girl's quite overwrought. Suddenly, the doors to the clubhouse swing open. Jeremiah Goodwill, Lucas Sterling, Vitor von Guntram, and Edward Bonfire stumble out, but instead of blood and battle, they are bellowing with laughter. Wiping her tears with her lace handkerchief. Is that... they're laughing? She sees Lucas Sterling walking largely unharmed, and a relieved smile breaks through her fear. Waving a glass of clear liquid. Vodka, Vitalina! Vodka! Vitalina Petrosky squeals with delight. Lubimi, you mad beast, you glorious fool! Vitalina Petrosky runs towards Edward Bonfire, throwing her arms around him as he offers her the glass. Edward Bonfire, for you, my heart, fresh from the fire. The group coalesces, tensions melting into relief, and joy as they move towards the dining room. But yeah, after I play this game on stream and, like, try my best to fill out the timeline, because I have been streaming quite lately, and, like, I want to stream a lot more today, so it's going to be quite a long time. Going to be quite the long stream today. So. After they get out the